yeah, for now, if I can't find anything for now. But I was thinking the topic of Karuna is still, for me like live, and that's it. But let's see what others says. I prefer Alan to listen to Tanajan and every one of you. So I will be listening today more, yeah? The
And I
listening
think
mode.
when we have newcomers, it's good to just keep it
Yeah, that's it.
simple
That's okay.
language
That's okay.
and
Yes,
basics.
of course, yeah.
Let's see if and Alan, Andy, I'd like to also just introduce you to Nina. Oh, Nina is Nina Van Gorkum. I mentioned a couple of books that I recommended to you. So Nina is the author of them. I recommended The Buddha's Path and Abhidharma and Daily Life to Andy, Nina. So
Yes.
let's see if Ajahn Suchin is here now. Ajahn, are you here now?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Sawadika, Ajahn. Ajahn, I'd just like to introduce you to my cousin Andy, who is here for the first time. So he's not familiar with any Pali terms. So everything is quite new for him. So perhaps we can start with some basic point for benefit of Andy and any other newcomers. Andy, from the little bit that you had a chance to look at, or you mentioned that you just have an interest to know a little more about Buddhism, what is it about the Buddha's teachings that you have an interest to learn more about?
Well, I've come to it having done a little bit of meditation through the mindfulness route. And actually the app I'm using is I don't know if anybody knows it, Waking Up by Sam Harris, who's very much argues that you don't need the spiritual bit, or the spiritual bit, he argues it's just consciousness, having done a lot of, and it just made me curious. And then as I said to you, Sarah, whenever I get curious, I then think about what it is you could teach. And I'm missing being a teacher. So it's all that interest has come through, but I know relatively little, but I've had, I think, the starts of some insights of that I want to go on some kind of journey.
Okay, thanks for your introduction.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to understand the truth of whatever is now appearing? You are interested in studying the teachings of the Buddha, but do you have interest in understanding what is there now, right now? The truth of this moment, what is there? As the absolute truth, never change at all. What is there now? Is it very interesting to consider, to understand the truth, because it's now already? How come? Is it interesting?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so the precious of understanding what is there now, because it's really there already, and then gone forever. No one can have it be object of experience as it is right now. After it's gone, nowhere, not at all, no matter in this life or other life. Is it true? For example, hearing right now is not moment of seeing. Nobody arranged that, but it's there by conditions. Nobody can change the truth, but ignorance is there as long as not understand the truth of it, as it's only a reality so true because it's now appearing, but there must be conditions for its arising that no one can make it arise at all. For example, seeing right now without the eye, base, and that which impinge on it. Can there be seeing right now? Because whatever is behind is not seen, because that does not impinge on the eye. So how can there be seeing that which is behind you or at the back at all? This is so true to understand that each moment is so anatta, not under anyone's control at all. It's there by condition already, but no one knows how come. to be such and such, and there is the ignorance about it. Even it arises just to see, but there is the idea from not knowing what is there. I see immediately. So no understanding about this moment. So how can there be the understanding of the truth next moment? Exactly the same, by conditions. To understand the truth of life from moment of birth to death, because it's real. And I think that nothing is more interesting than this, no matter in what subject. Because to understand this means that one can understand what we take for oneself. Usually we think of the others and we think that we understand these people or that people, my friend, my cousin, so on. But actually, what is your friend? What is that? See, something with such shape and form, different by conditions, only that. And if there is no seeing, no hearing, no smelling, no tasting, no touching, can anyone be taken as someone or some friend or somewhere? See? So the source of the world is the moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. And if there is no birth at all, can there be all these moments? Impossible. And then birth and death. No one at all. No one can stop the way it is, conditioned to arise and fall away until the end of the condition to be just this being, no more, by conditions. Just live and not understanding anything, appearing in each day. And there is the person that is the person with great wisdom who can talk about the truth of it, share the truth that he has directly experienced. That was called enlightenment, the moment of directly experience the truth, which now it arises, so it appears, and then it's gone. Who knows? But that can be instantly experienced by conditions when time comes, and that moment is moment of panya, which begin from understand this moment. What is there? So think over about that which is said about the truth of this moment as it is. It is there while we are talking. There is seeing. Is it possible for seeing and hearing and thinking to be at the same moment? Impossible. There must be only one moment at a time, and there must be at that very moment that which experiences an object, because what is seen now is that which seeing experienced. Without seeing, how can whatever is now seen appear as it is? Impossible. The same as hearing. If there is no sound at all, no ear base or ear sense, can there be condition for seeing to arise? Even there is the ear base, the ear sense, but when sound does not impinge on the ear base, how can there be seeing? Before that, there is ear base and there is sound. But as long as sound does not impinge on the ear base, there cannot be hearing. Just hear the word and then gone completely. No one knows. But the truth is that. That's why I begin to understand life from moment of birth on to the moment of death. No one there at all. Each moment is conditioned to arise and then falls away instantly, so very, very rapidly. And the succession of the arising and falling away of seeing and hearing and thinking condition the shape and form at moment of seeing as some shape and form as something. Bird, table, flowers, and so on. But they are that which can be seen when there is seeing only, and then gone. Each moment is not permanent at all. So very, very rapidly, is this not the way life is? See, it has to be like this, never change at all. It depends on understanding, on no understanding about this truth. If there is nothing to think over it carefully, wisely, there must be the idea of I was born, I see, I hear, each day, each moment, but everything is gone as soon as it's there. As soon as it's there. There is only memory about legs and arms and chairs and things, but when there is no thinking, can there be such thinking like my chair, my arm, my leg, even right now? At moment of seeing, just that very moment, is there any leg or hand or things or chair? Just to learn about the truth, the absolute truth of life, of what is there from birth to death. To understand whether it's true or not, everything which is there falls away, not permanent at all. So attachment can be of anything which is the object. But when it's gone, there is the memory that I still like it, but what is it? It's gone completely. Right now, the truth can be understood and it can be directly experienced. When there is more letting go, the wrong understanding of something there, because just that which impinges on the eye base cannot be table or thing at all. The chair, can it impinge on the eye base? The flower, can the flower impinge on the eye base? Impossible. Only that, a reality, which is not sound, which is not heard, and it's just a reality which can impinge on the eye base. And then panya, and then right understanding or seeing is there. When nothing understood at that very moment, how can there be the letting go of the idea of self? So actually, there should be one's own understanding from what is heard about the truth of whatever is there. Because actually, there is the idea of I see, I hear, I think, all day. But in truth, just different realities conditioned to arise and then fall away instantly. It doesn't mind who understand it or not. It's the way it is. So it just, what is heard, is it true? Is it real? And can that it be directly experienced? If it's not possible, it's useless to listen to, because it's only the idea of thought about it. But it's not just thinking. There can be moment of understanding it deeper and deeper, and letting go what we take for something to understand what is deep is the reality which is now. It doesn't look like it's so deep, but the depth of the very subtlety of the truth is there as it's not there anymore. It's that which is seen now, it's gone, unknown. But as long as it's true, there can be a little more understanding on and on and on, until the truth reveals itself, show up as it is, only to panya, which has let go the idea of something enough to experience that with understanding of its characteristic, and it cannot be taken for anything that used to be taken.
I think the point, as we mentioned last time, is that the truth of life, it's not necessary to call it. We don't have to say it's the Buddhist truth or any other truth. We don't have to give a particular name. But point is to understand more about what life really is at this moment. And this is the way to gradually learn that what we take for being true and life is actually fantasy, dream world. Because as Ajahn has just been saying, at the moment now there is seeing, there's hearing, there's thinking. We're used to thinking there's an I, a self, that sees, that hears, that thinks, that dreams. But in fact, just different moments of consciousness. Because Andy mentioned there is just consciousness. Actually, there's one moment of consciousness at a time, arising and falling away, a bit like an electric current. Each one conditions the next one, and no one who experiences, no one who does anything. So just these different moments of consciousness, experiencing their object and falling away instantly. So waking up that is of value is the gradual development of understanding. Ajahn used the word panya. Panya is understanding, the gradual development of understanding about what is the truth at this moment. And gradually we learn, understanding learns that the truth is just these different moments, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. No one who experiences, no one who is conscious, no one, no thing that is experienced. What is heard now is just sound, but because of thinking, there are ideas of many different things.
When we're talking about the truth,
I'm sorry, John Sarah, your voice is not that clear.
Thank you. Thanks, Haji. When we're talking about the truth of the present moment or life, the truth of life. What can be known as being true is only what can be directly experienced at the present moment. So it has to be whatever is appearing now that can be known. We can talk about other aspects of life, about how the world began or this, that, and the other, but this is not the same as directly knowing for oneself the truth about life at the present moment. That's why the focus here is on what is appearing now that can be directly known and what is the characteristic of whatever is appearing now.
Jan said at the start, the question is, does one have an interest to really understand what life is now, what the truth of life is now, or is one happy to just carry on in ignorance, life after life? So the purpose of understanding the truth of life now is to dispel the ignorance that covers up the truth. And the truth is that there are just these different mental and physical realities, the realities that experience an object and those that don't experience anything. No one there, no soul, no person, no being in truth.
And just to relate this to mindfulness, which you mentioned, which is the basis of how you came to be interested in the Dhamma, in Buddhism. Mindfulness in the Buddhist teaching is a mental factor, sometimes translated as awareness, and it's a wholesome mental factor. So mental states can be roughly categorized as either wholesome or unwholesome. Wholesome ones are those that are not harmful to oneself or others. And they are wholesome or unwholesome by nature, not because of the situation in which they arise, but the very nature of the mental state itself. So mindfulness or awareness is a wholesome mental factor that arises to perform its function together with understanding. And when we talk about mindfulness, we're really talking about understanding of what is appearing at the present moment. So mindfulness is not just the conventional idea of being aware, being alert to what is going on and paying attention to that, but it is actually a level of understanding of what is appearing at the present moment. So we're talking about understanding the truth.
I don't know whether Andy may be
John,
overwhelmed.
your voice is not that good, actually.
Excuse me. I don't know whether Andy may be overwhelmed by all the new things. But Andy, I learn everything, something new every time. Things that I didn't realize before. Like Ajahn said, there is seeing now while we are talking about seeing, but there is seeing now. And then we forget to consider that what is real. And we often hear, it is gone, it is gone. And it may not have much meaning in the beginning, but after all the explanations, we begin to understand more and more that it is so short each moment. And it's so important to realize that, because we have the scriptures and we can read suttas, but we may read with the wrong understanding when there is no understanding of what you hear a lot about the present moment. But the present moment, what is it? More and more, and very little by little, it may be clear. And when you hear it the first time, it doesn't have so much meaning, but it means that we have to hear it again and again. And Ajahn said, one moment or a few moments of listening is not enough. We have to hear it again and again, because what we hear, there can be just a little at a time. Ajahn very often stresses some understanding that is not lost. It is gone. We learn that, but it is not really lost, because there is a term you will hear, accumulation. It means it is somehow accumulated in the conscious moment. In the moment of consciousness at this moment, it falls away. That's true. But you hear a lot about conditions. It conditions again a next moment of understanding, and you can really see whether it's true or not when you learn something little by little all the time. So don't get too overwhelmed by all the new things that you hear now. It means really little by little, there will be more understanding. And it happens to me too all the time. I'm already with Buddhism so many, many years, but still here in these sessions, I learned something new, things that I didn't realize before. I just heard it superficially, and then we forget again. But before we really understand, it really takes a while.
And did you have any comments so far? Is it interesting or just totally confusing?
No, fascinating just to listen.
Good. And Alan, have you got anything you would add for Andy?
And Alan.
Alan, you didn't open your speaker.
Thank you. Yes, just to reiterate what Nina said, it takes a long time to sink in. It is not easy, and it's from the first utterance of the Buddha. It's deep, difficult, and against the common thought. So it has to be. We have to be patient to listen a lot before we begin to get it. But personally, I found the first few pages of Abhidharma in daily life extremely valuable to start me off. So that's what I would recommend. Just the first chapter, even the first page of Abhidharma contains the essence of Buddhism, that reality is of two types, nama and rupa, and then relate it back to the present moment. So for example, what is touched? Sort of simple question, simple answer, but deep in our minds, it's something. It's the mug, it's the computer, it's the chair, but actually the reality, the absolute truth is it's just hard or soft. So this is how we go forward. So we understand from the Abhidhamma that what is touched is just hard or soft, and that is rupa. And of course, that is hardness or softness is impermanent. But in our minds, the leg or the arm or the computer, they last a long time. But actually, hardness does not last. So if we look at life through this lens, if you like, of the present moment, these realities do not last. But in our mind, we have the idea of the table, the chair, the computer, they last for a long time, but actually the reality is gone. So this is quite very different way of thinking, and it takes a long time to sort of sink in as to what it means. But without the understanding of the Buddha's teachings, it's impossible really to understand the present moment precisely. It's just too subtle and too difficult. So I would say that when we see this secular mindfulness, this mindfulness without Buddhism, it's not the same at all. It's quite different. And that's important to bear in mind, I think. So my message is it has to be a tiny little bit at a time. I think some years ago, Ajahn mentioned about that the ant gets everywhere. They get to the highest peak because they go a tiny little step at a time. So I think that's my message, a tiny little step at a time.
Andy, hi. We all welcome new people to come. I just want to add a little bit. Yeah. When what Alan has said, that there's no chair or there's no one, or there's no table. But what is real? It is what we concept as table and chair, but what is real there when, like, is table and chair is a part of reality or just a concept?
So, like now, as Alan said, there are actually two kinds of realities. There are those realities which experience, we can call them Dhamma. So seeing experiences what is seen, hearing experiences what is heard, touching experiences what is touched, feeling feels. These are all kinds of Dhamma, the first kind of reality. And the second kind of reality are those realities which cannot experience anything. They're called rupas. So at the moment of touching, it seems like it's a chair or table that is touched, but actually at the moment of touching, what is experienced is heat or hardness or coldness or motion. And the chair is just an idea in the mind. So when there is thinking about the idea of chair, but what is touched is just the hardness or the coldness. So gradually we learn to differentiate between what are the realities in life or the truths in life, and namas and rupas, and that which is just an idea or a concept such as chair or table, which is thought about or imagined. So when we wake up in the morning after dreaming, we know that it's been a dream, that it's just imaginary, but actually in the daytime, it's the same. In between the seeing and the hearing and so on, there is thinking about different fantasies, different dreams, different ideas, but they're taken for being the reality. So gradually the understanding develops to know more about the truth at this moment, as Ajahn was talking about in the beginning, like we think about Arundel in Sussex and the countryside and the fresh air. And actually Ajahn has been to Arundel too, but it's just a dream, a fantasy, because at this moment there is just seeing, there is just thinking, where is Arundel? if there's no thinking about it, no arundel at all.
Before Ajahn makes some further comments, I'm sure she's ready to. I'd just like to make a brief comment about the mindfulness without the spirituality, because to me, the teaching, the Buddhism that we study doesn't have any spirituality aspect to it. There's no things to believe that are part of the teaching. It's all about verifying for oneself truth about the present moment. And I think the difference between mindfulness as it's taught without the spirituality is that it has quite a different purpose, because it's really more designed, as I understand it, to modify one's behavior or to improve one's attention or to manifest in some kind of modified behavior or conduct. Whereas mindfulness in the Buddhist teaching is an essential part of coming to understand the truth of the present moment. And as I said, it's a mental factor, and it's not it's not something to do or to be done. This is the important thing. It's not a form of practice to be undertaken. It's like other mental states that, as Nina mentioned, we have accumulated different kinds of mental attributes. We're kind, we're easily get angry, and this, that, and the other. All of these are mental factors, accumulated tendencies, and mindfulness and other wholesome mental factors are another aspect of these. And I think Ajahn, would you like to make some further comments now?
May I ask, why are you interested in Buddhism? What is that, Buddhism? Is there any reason? Why not other teachings?
Andy, I think Ajahn asking you.
I don't know what I'm interested in, if I'm honest, so I need to ask. And really the reason of being able to ask about Buddhism was because I could email Sarah, and I knew somebody who knew a lot about Buddhism.
If you heard about someone who just many people said about him, like he's the one who knows everything, who taught about the truth of everything, it's time to consider his word, whether it's true or not, reliable or not, to understand whether he is really the enlightened one who understands everything. Absolutely, truth. That's why we begin to listen to any word that is so quite very new to us. For example, there is no one, but there is what now? And what is meant by one? Person, pencil, table, chair. But how come to be experienced as something if there is no seeing that which can impinge on the eye base? See, sound cannot impinge on the eye base at all. Impossible. Hardness cannot impinge on the eye base or eye sense. Only a reality. Why do we say a reality? Because now it's there, it's seen. So how can it be not real? Because it appears as it is, as only that which is seen, different from other moment, other reality. That which is seen cannot be heard, cannot be smelt, cannot be tasted, cannot be other thing else. Only that which can be seen. Only one reality among all other realities which cannot be seen. Is that true? Is that real? And without the eye base, can that appear when there's no seeing at all? And this is any moment in life. Each day there is seeing and then thinking of that which is seen. But what is the truth of each moment as it is? Seeing cannot be thinking. Seeing cannot be hearing. Different conditions. For hearing without that which is the eye base, for the sound to impinge on it, and it condition a reality which experiences sound just right now. Who knows how come to be the moment of hearing sound? And when there is no understanding, whatever is there, it's me or I, because not understanding the truth of that which is there, as not I, not me, no thing, it's only a reality which can experience an object differently through different doorways. For example, seeing cannot hear, but either seeing or hearing is a reality which can experience an object. It can, whenever it arises, it has to experience an object, its proper object, because seeing cannot hear and hearing cannot see, different moment, and then gone completely, never to return at all, never to arise again, gone completely, absolutely. Is that not true? Just listen to the truth, no matter we call it what, Buddhism or the Buddha or anyone, but the word of truth is there from the one who has enlightened the truth. Each word can be studied, can be the object of understanding more and more and more, deeper and deeper, because what is there arising and falling away is not far from this moment at all. We don't have to look for such and such thing is taught by someone or the other, but about now, who can teach about the truth of whatever is now appearing. So follow the word with more understanding about that which cannot be understood by oneself at all, but from hearing and considering, there can be condition for understanding it. Not just like before. No hearing, no thinking about that, no understanding from birth to life. So what is better in life? To understand the truth, or just live without any understanding of condition, the cause and the result at all. So just hearing, considering, and right understanding develops, because actually there is no one. There are so many different realities. Each is different by conditions. For example, understanding is different from not understanding. Even that can be proved right now. What is there? No understanding of the truth at all. No understanding it has arisen by conditions and it's gone. But the truth is that thinking about that. And when there is moment of hearing, it's not seeing. How can it arise together? Because one moment of experiencing, there must be only an object which is experienced by that reality. That's why each day so many reality arising and falling away, one by one, or moment from moment to moment, all day, unknown. And what about just hearing and thinking and understanding the truth, that it's so true that death is not just moment of birth and then time when pass away as death, but each moment which arises gone. Is the temporary death of that which has arisen. Is that not true? What was there now when it's there yesterday? See, the same chair, but yesterday, did you sit on it? And where's that which sat on it yesterday? Not now, different ones, right? Cannot be the same one at all. So each word is not just to believe, but it can be understood right now of its truth from the one who has enlightened and taught for so long, 45 years. For anyone who cannot think by oneself to understand the truth of each moment, to begin to understand the absolute truth. Who is born must die. Who can stop? But actually, death is in each moment. because it's not there anymore. As it has arisen, it's gone. So this is the way to let go wrong understanding, which cling, which take that which is already gone as I or something there all the time, very permanent, but actually it's not there anymore. When there is right understanding which can penetrate the truth of whatever appears now, that before it appears, it's not there. But when it's there, it's conditioned. No one can make it arise. But conditions, the proper conditions for such reality, conditions such moments. So it's there already. And even right now, what is taken for so permanent is not there anymore. Only the next one, new one all the time, continuously from moment to moment. Only just a moment of that which impinge on the eye. Can it be something? Can it be table? At moment of just touching, what is touched? Is it so tiny? Because even the tiniest ant can touch what is there. So each moment of touching, it's not as big like a table or thing, but it's only that which is hard or soft, hot or cold, only that, and then gone. But the succession of the arising and falling away is so very rapidly unbelievable, because it has to be directly experienced by right understanding of the degree of enlightenment to enlighten the truth stage by stage. That's why we take the world as so many things, but it depends on just one moment of experiencing what is there as so very tiny, but the succession is so very, very rapidly that it appears as a sign, image, shape, and form of something already. So imagine how fast it is, the moment of arising and falling away, unknown, until there is a person, there was a person in the old days who had enlightened the truth and taught anyone to understand it little by little until panya, right understanding, is enough to let go clinging to that which has gone, so that there can be the understanding of direct arising and falling away of an image of that which appears. Is this true or not? Just consider, that's all, to understand the way it is. Is it different from what you heard now, from the one who had enlightened the truth? If it's not like this, what about your idea or understanding about that? Because the previous moment's gone. The seeing, the hearing, sound, that which is seen at moment of hearing, see. That's why, is it right? No one, no thing, only different conditioned reality, arising and falling away, unknowingly, all day, all time.
And I think this point about death is actually very useful, because like today in England we have the funeral of Prince Philip, and we're so used to thinking about the end of life and death, but it's so helpful to reflect that actually there is death of consciousness at this moment, at every moment. The seeing now is gone, never to return. The thinking now is gone, never to return. What we take for someone, for Alan or Andy or Sarah, that thinking is gone instantly. If there's no thinking about Alan or Andy, where are they? So there is actually death at every moment in life. And at the end of this life, this conventional life, there is the death of another moment of consciousness. or followed by another one, just like now. And Jyotika, I think you were you wanting to say something?
Jyotika, I think
We can't hear you, Jyotika. Unmute your mic.
I want to ask on Ajahn, is there anything at all we can do?
Okay. Can you make seeing arise?
No.
Can you make hearing arise?
No.
So how can you think that is there anything I can do, because actually there's no I.
Yeah,
but there are the absolute realities, and they are conditions for each other.
So then is the thing that I see, I see a process. It's just a process from the conditioned things.
Mm-hmm.
That is life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, see, who makes whatever is there to arise? No one, but there are conditions. When there's no eye base, can there be seeing? When there's no ear base, can there be hearing? And thinking, just think about that which is seen and heard. Just mark and think about it as something permanent, someone there, the flowers are there, everything are there. But actually, when that which is not seen cannot be there anymore. And when there is again seeing that it's not the same one which has been seen before.
It's overwhelming.
And that can be directly experienced, but by letting go the idea of self, because clinging to that is always there. At this moment, there's clinging to that which is heard. And the other thing arises after it very rapidly, and there is clinging to that object again. So clinging hinders the truth of the arising and falling away, because there is attention to the next one instantly, all the time, until there is understanding about each one as it is, beginning to see the difference, that they cannot be the same, and they have different conditions. That's why it's letting go. How or what can I do? Nothing at all, because actually there is no one. If nothing arises at all, can there be I? But at moment of seeing, not understanding it, that it's conditioned, I is there, because the I is that which experiences, not understanding that it's just a reality conditioned by different conditions. Seeing sees, experiencing an object, hearing, not seeing. See? So where is the I which is gone? When seeing is gone, I is gone. If one takes seeing for I, what about
Is
the
it
experience?
important that I am? Is it important that I am there?
Because what is the truth? To understand the truth or not understand the truth?
Yeah.
It depends whether to understand it or not understanding it, only that.
But you cannot do anything
Nothing at all.
to do it, to understand it.
Yeah. When there's no understanding, is that real? That which cannot understand is there at the moment of seeing. Not understand seeing is there, right? So not understanding is there. It is that which arises and cannot understand the truth, different from that which arises and understand it. Different realities.
Yes.
And when there is more understanding, the reality which does not understand is less and less. When there is understanding, there is less misunderstanding, or wrong understanding, or not understanding. That's why we learn to understand that actually there's not just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking there are lots of different realities unknown, but we can learn to understand each different one, to understand more about that is not be taken for self. For example, anger is real, different from attachment. See, who can change? At moment when attachment is there, can anyone change it to be anger, unpleasant feeling? Impossible, because seeing sees that which brings or condition the unpleasant feeling, see, and dislike it, see, all come together, different realities in a moment. So in a moment, there are many realities unknown. But Buddha taught about each reality as it is, little by little, to see that even one moment, there are many different realities condition each other to arise. For example, we talk about two types of reality. One cannot experience at all. Can you make hardness to experience anything? Impossible, because it has its characteristic and just arise to be just hard, not experience anything at all. But that which experiences, can anyone make it not to experience? No. So there are two different types, no matter in what world, this world, Deva or other worlds. So that reality which cannot experience, no matter what, sound cannot experience, hardness cannot experience, call them as rupa. One word for all, that which cannot experience anything. So what you take for the body is hard. From head to toe is there. It's the rupa, it cannot experience. But it's the moment that is the base for feeling to arise when there is touching. When you have pain, see, it's there. At the body, when something is there, pleasant, unpleasant object is experienced. Too hard, too hot, see, it cannot bring about the pleasant feeling at all by conditions. So even a moment, there are many, many realities unknown. That's why one takes that moment easily for pain, I feel pain, I have such painful feeling. But actually it's there by conditions. No one like it at all, but it's there by condition. No one can change it because it's gone before anyone can do anything. And the condition for painful feeling, condition the painful feeling to arise on and on and on, without understanding that each one has gone completely before that which arises after it. If it does not fall away, how can the other arise? Impossible. Because what is there is only one which has arisen and fallen away. It cannot be the other moment, the other one reality which is not the same one, which is that which has fallen away. See, and this is true. When there is more understanding, the idea of self is less and less and less. So right understanding, begin to understand the absolute truth directly. But it has to be with understanding. Because without understanding, how can there be condition for understanding that which appears as it gone? Or it's only there, only very, very short. Because nothing, and then something, and then nothing again. So what's the use of just being conditioned to be just in a very short moment and then gone? This is life, the truth of life, the absolute truth of all realities. Who can change? Who can do? Because actually there's no one.
If this whole thing change in consciousness and understanding, then there's no problem more.
Mm-hmm. When there's no touching, just then, can hardness be there, appearing? When there's no touching? See, you touch your face, see, and you take it from my face, but actually it's that which is hard, it's there by condition. and it appears only that which can experience arises when it impinges on the body sense and then gone. So no hardness appearing on the face as at the moment of touching. It's gone all the time, but not understanding the truth. There is the idea all the time that it's still there. I have my face, see? But actually, that is hard only. It does not belong to anyone at all.
Tanajan,
Yes.
because you see, yeah, I understand you. Thank you so much for your gift, precious gift of Dhamma, you know. But because you say now that what is visible, like your face now, yeah, and touching is different, yeah. But what is my doubt now is that if I can come, you know, and touch your face and see your face at the same time, yeah. Then you know I can measure by touch what is visible, you know. This is only example, Tanajan, because you know if I come for something and I touch it and I see it, then I can compare touching and seeing, you know, and they both are like you know, they agree together, you know, touching and seeing, Tanajan.
Yes, but you take it for I.
Yes,
It's
Tanajan, but you know,
gone.
because if I see something and touch, then I can check, double check, you know, because I see and I touch
What is there at
anything,
moment?
you know.
Yeah, at moment of just seeing, is there you?
Uh,
Double
yeah,
check.
probably,
See,
but that's my doubt, Tanajan, you know.
is doubt real?
I didn't come to that point, you know, if
When
this
you
is,
don't know
but
that it's conditioned to doubt, it's I
yes.
who doubt.
Yeah, I understand, Tanajan, but if we come back to only that doubt, you know, that because you said like what is seen is different than what is touched, yeah, of course, but I see still I don't see it because this is the doubt. Because if I see like I don't know, the cup, you know, a cup, I see it and what is written on it, but I can touch it in my hand, a cup, yeah, and this. You know, agrees, you know, this touching sense with the seeing sense. So I know this is a cup, Tanajan, you know, this is only the doubt that I wanted to ask, if you may clear it out, you know, please.
If there is no seeing, can there be you who see?
Yes,
If there's no doubt,
yes, Tanajan, but only I consider now the point of touching a cup of in my hand and seeing that cup in the same time it happens to me, you
because
know, as an ignorant person, of course, you know.
what you said are many, many moments, right? One after the other. So there is the idea of something. But if we talk just about one moment, one characteristic of a
Yes, Tanajan,
reality,
I
that
understand, yeah.
cannot be mixed. Can there be
Mhm.
you or thing or the idea about that?
Yes, but that's why I asked, Tanajan, because
So just learn to understand a
yeah, but
moment.
because this is important question to me, Tanajan, you know.
I think the touching and the seeing are different realities, though, aren't they? And it's the thinking
Yes,
that
by word, but John, you know, because I have a cup in my hand now, I'm touching a cup and I see that cup and it agrees to me, you know. One is
yes,
a touching sense and the other is the
right,
seeing.
right,
And
and
then
they
it
agree.
agrees like for ignorance, you know, that the
They
cup
agree.
exists, you know.
They agree by means of thinking, because the touching cannot know what is seen, and the seeing cannot know what is touched. But it's the thinking about what is
Yeah,
being
of course.
seen
Yeah,
and the thinking about what is being touched
yeah,
that gives the idea of agreement of a cup.
yeah. Yeah, that's why I would like, you know, to clear answer for that, because this is my doubt and it's quite a big, you know, doubt.
Well,
Because I see a tree, and I can go and touch the tree. So I think there is a tree, you know.
But the problem is that we haven't understood the different experiencings as different realities. We haven't understood clearly that seeing has one characteristic and touching
Of course,
has another.
yeah, I understand.
So that's normal. That's the same for everyone.
Yeah.
Gradually, with the development of understanding, it becomes clearer.
Well, yeah, I think so, John.
There are
Yeah.
different
I
moments.
think that's why I don't understand the Dhamma, you know.
Lucas, it is you that understand or Panya that understand?
No, this must be Panya, you know. But at the moment I can't understand. I don't understand, and that's why I ask. It's a six sense doors, and that's why they all come like one thing, you know. For me, at the moment, of course, yeah.
Even now, if it seems overwhelming, like Jyotika said, or there is doubt, at that moment of thinking, they all come together, or surely I can do something. Isn't it just thinking now? Isn't the doubt just doubt now? And the doubt is real, it can be known, but it doesn't last. At the next moment of clinging or to something or
yeah, I understand, because
being annoyed, there's no doubt.
My thinking now, I understand.
So it's just the thinking of doubt for a moment.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to ask Najan if there was opportunity, you know, but
Lucas, can I try?
Yeah.
Hi, Robert. Good.
Yeah, hi. So Lucas, you.
Yeah, all right, okay. Please carry on. Please carry on.
Talk to you. Sorry, my camera's not working. So you're talking about a cup. Why don't we mistake a pencil for a cup? There are realities there. There are realities like kalapas. So whether we've heard Dharma or not, people don't mistake a cup for a pencil. Why is that? Because there are actual realities that are arising and passing away. When we hear about the Dharma, though, we know more about what is concept and what is reality. Doesn't mean that the realities change when we hear Dharma at all, nor do the concepts in a way. It's just the understanding of what is concept and what is reality. So the kalapas that make up what we call a cup are different from the group of the many kalapas that make up the pen that might be on your table. Yeah. And another difference is the kalapas are rising and falling away. The cup is not arising and falling away. It's it seems to last. And yet the kalapas, the countless kalapas that make up what we call a cup are arising and passing away. And really what the Dharma does, it doesn't mean we see things in a different light. We don't have concepts. Cups still appear as cups. Pens still appear as pens, just the same, but there's more understanding of what is concept, what is reality. That's all.
Yeah, I think I get you, but sorry about that, because I mean like two sense doors, yeah, and they are mixed together, maybe all of them, because thinking also there, yeah. Sorry, Robert, don't worry about that, because that was my like spin off a bit, sorry, just butt in, but maybe Tanajan can carry on, you know, I think is better, because that was currently a question I felt to ask, you know, because for me now it's no understanding, it's no one's, that Panya can see it, of course, but my situation now is very difficult because, you know, everyone knows that I'm in struggling my life now, and all these medications and everything, therapy, you know. So maybe Tanajan and you carry on, okay? I'll be listening.
I would like to ask Jyotika about when you asked whether you can do anything, and when you heard nothing that can be done, and it sounds so overwhelming. why would you like to do something so much? Because now there is seeing, now there's hearing, now there's thinking. Each reality is arising by conditions and has to be the way it is by conditions. What is the reason would like to do something or change it so much?
I think there is a way to peace.
To have more peace. So it's actually the clinging, the wishing now, wishing so much to have peace, not to be disturbed, to have everything calm and pleasant. So
Yes.
we can see that this is why it's attachment that is the second noble truth, the cause of all disturbance, all difficulties in life. So
Also for the good things.
So this is a strong clinging to I and I that can change it or can make it happen that causes all the difficulty when it's not the way we would like it, when it's not peace now. Instead of just understanding it, there's the strong clinging, wishing it to be different, wishing to be able to control it. So the real issue is the clinging, the strong clinging, and most of all to the idea that I can change it, I can make it another way, I can bring peace. And this is what causes all the disturbance in life. So the Buddha's teaching is the opposite, because it's the development of detachment. Understanding means developing detachment and acceptance, understanding what is conditioned rather than trying to change it, accumulating more and more clinging to self and more difficulty in life. So it's the opposite of what we would like.
Yeah, it sounds very beautiful.
So understand what is conditioned now.
I discovered already when Tanajan was answering that it was the idea of self. It is not even a thing, the self. It's not what is sitting here.
It's the fantasy, the fantasy that there is the fantasy of I that can solve the problems, that can do something, that can control, that can make calm arise. And it is a fantasy, it's not true. Because in truth, seeing now arises by conditions, hearing arises by conditions, whether there is pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling cannot be changed because it's already arisen by conditions. So the purpose of the path is not to change what is conditioned or make calm arise, but just to understand what is conditioned at this moment. And this is the letting go of the strong clinging to self that can control life.
Thanachan,
thank you.
Thanachan, when you said that do, when idea of do, it means that it does not have the understanding that it's Dhamma. If it understanding from the word, start from the word Dhamma, then how can it be do? Because do is I who want to do. In Buddhism, when we understand a Dhamma, in Buddhism, there's no word do. If anyone who understands Dhamma, they already know that the word do itself is wrong already, because do mean I who can do. It does not understand that anatta-ness, that is Dhamma. It cannot change. How can Dhamma be controlled? It's uncontrollable. It's not that anyone can make or change or like that. So the word do itself already is wrong. There's no wrong. There's no the word do in Buddhism when we understand that it's just Dhamma arising by condition.
I think it's a good point that Jyotika made. Is there anything we can do? Because little by little, we understand more that no, nothing can be done. That is the Buddha's goal, to teach that it is all anatta, non-self, And it's hard to accept, perhaps overwhelming in the beginning. Now we hear the word condition a lot, and that may be also difficult for those who begin to study, for everybody really. But the going together, the meeting together from different phenomena form conditions for this and for that. And the more we learn that we can't direct those phenomena to come just at that moment to cause the arising of another phenomenon. And the more we understand that it is impossible to make them arise, and then we understand better that nothing can be done. But there's another thing. We learn a lot that the development of understanding is not something far away, it's so close, because we hear about there is no table and there is hardness when you touch, but actually touch it, and then you can prove it for yourself. All these things that we learn, we have to verify and prove them for ourselves. Then they are less overwhelming, and we understand better that they are close at hand, not far away.
But Nina, we say that you cannot do it anything yourself, but you can do something for the conditions. But it looks not true.
But
that we can do something with the conditions, but
not a self, but understanding. Understanding is
understanding can do something with conditions.
It's not hopeless. Some people think it's hopeless that you can't do anything. But by listening a little every time, and then there is a little more understanding, it's not the self who can do anything, but the understanding can improve life. But you want peace. I understand that, but peace doesn't last. And especially when confronted with death and loss in a family, you can realize more that death cannot be avoided. But it is a consolation that there is birth and death at each moment in that sense. By conditions again, by conditions. But understanding, it's not hopeless.
And I don't think we can actually do anything about conditions either. It's just a fantasy that conditions can be manipulated to bring the result we want. It's the same idea actually as doing thing itself, wouldn't you say so? Ajahn may have some comment on this.
Very good point, yeah.
I think that from birth, we talk just about that which we don't understand at all. For example, peace. Everyone would like to have peace, but what is it? Who can know? Is there peace now? At moment of seeing, is it peaceful? What is it? What is peace in reality? We take that we like when it's not trouble as peace. See, but is that peace? Or I? When there is I, is it peace? Right or wrong understanding? Can wrong understanding be peace or peaceful? Impossible. We take that which doesn't appear as trouble.
Yes, wrong understanding.
That's why, if there's no hearing about the truth and consider it, no one understands what is really peace at all. And what is it? A reality. What reality? See, it's not just no self, no me, a reality. That's not enough to understand that. Understanding has to be this very moment of a reality, because peace is not moment of seeing. When it's akusala, no understanding, is that peace? See, we just take it as we like. But actually, who knows the truth at moment of ignorance, not understanding the truth? Can that be peace? Impossible. But no one can tell why not. But the Buddha enlightened the truth. So he thought about each reality as it is. What is the real truth? What is the truth of different realities? They cannot be mixed up to be taken for something at all. It has to be just one at a time. For example, the whole body, no matter the body of human being or chair or cup, it can be broken into just a very tiniest piece, tiniest atom or whatever you take. Is it a chair? Is it a rose? Or what is there? It is something that no one knows. But Buddha thought about that. What are there? See, even in the smallest moment, rupa, what are there together? See, can you imagine? When sound appears, what is there with sound? Not sound alone, see? Can anyone have sound just to arise alone? But Buddha thought about the truth, the absolute truth. What is there? Only sound appears as visible object appears, but there are other things with that which appears as visible object. So no one can think about the truth of that which arises and falls away in split seconds as different one, together arising by conditions. That's why we have to understand what are the absolute truth, how many of them, which is really absolute truth, that which cannot experience, no matter its taste or sound, hardness or whatever, cannot experience. Is they real? Are they real? Yes, they are. But they cannot experience anything. Where are they? Now. What we take for head, what we take for toe, hardness, conditioned by different conditions, unknown, that they are different by conditions. See? For example, without hardness, can there be that which impinge on the eye base? Because where is that which impinge on the eye base? What is with it, which can experience, which can appear or impinge on the eye base? Not just the color or that which is seen, visible object, but there must be hardness there too. If no one comes in, no hardness, nothing impinge on the eye as someone is coming. But when there is the idea, it's seen as someone is coming, there must be hardness and softness together. But hardness and softness cannot impinge on the eye base. Only that which is with it can impinge on the eye base. And when it appears, it does not appear as only very tiny, that which impinge on the eye base, but it appears as sign or mark, symbol or nimitta of that, as something. A person is coming, a dog is coming, fly is there. See? Many ideas about that which is seen, but not understanding only one which is there, which can impinge on the eye base. And when they are together, many moments together, unknown, the sign of that which appear has mark and form to be taken for something permanent, like my head. Actually, it's there only when there is touching. Otherwise, there can never be letting go the idea of something or I at all. Only when it appears as not can be taken for anything, because what is there is very short, so short that it cannot be taken for anything at all, no matter hardness, not the whole body, just at the point or the part which is touched only, see? So how can that be anything? That's why understanding the absolute truth, what are there? That which can experience is an absolute reality, and that which cannot experience, it's real, it's conditioned, it arises, is there, but it cannot experience. another reality, rupa. That's why there are dhammas, whatever is there conditioned to appear, because when it arises, it's impinged on that which can condition moment of experiencing as it is. Is there no one at all, only a short moment and then gone. This is the understanding which begin to let go the idea of self from hearing, considering, understanding the truth. Otherwise, the I cannot be less and less until it can completely eradicated, which it usually condition all unwholesome realities. That's why there are two kinds, two different type of reality. One cannot experience, the rupa, and that which can experience. Whenever it arises, it experiences as soon as it's there and then gone. That is nama. And for nama, there are two kinds. That which is the chief of experiencing, it does not like, it does not hate, it just sees clearly of that which is seen. That's all its function, just to experience it. And that is called by many words from the Buddha. It can be vinyana, or mano, or manasa, hataya, and so on. But all the other, that which experiences, no matter what word is used for it. Mano, see, manodavara, hataya, vatu, is rupa. But why is vatu? It's vatu for citta to arise. So citta is not the vatu, and so on. There are so many truths about it that can be known directly, little by little. So all dhammas are here, not there at all. The world is here. Whatever arises, pass away, fallen away. So the world is that which arises and falls away. And this is the meaning of the world. Whatever is there appearing is the world. But there are different namas, different kinds, and different characteristics of rupa. That's why we learn about how many rupas are there in truth, absolute truth, and how many of that which experiences. There are two types. Citta, that which is the chief of experiencing. Citta cannot perform any other function at all. The other function of and the other realities like hatred is a reality. Attachment is different from hatred, but it's real, so it's another reality. Altogether, how many? In brief, but in truth, much more than that, because different levels of each reality, even hardness, different levels, different degrees, not much or not strong enough, and so on. That's why whatever appears, which is hard, can be different levels. Soft, see, it's a kind of less hard, not much or more hardness. This is life all day that can be object of understanding. When there is the understanding of the truth, it begins to understand the moment when it's there. But it has to be more confidence of the truth enough to condition moment of peace, see, with understanding. At that moment, it cannot be troubled at all, because it's panya which understand what is there. As not self. When there is no self, can there be any trouble? Not me, no matter it's anger or attachment, pleasant or unpleasant. Not me or mine at all. And is that true? Not just rushing to let go, or wrong understanding and clinging, but it depends, all depends on different levels of understanding. How much? The beginning is pariyatti and patipatti and then pativeda. All are panya, understanding, different levels of understanding. The panya, the right understanding, which understand intellectually about seeing, it's not there all the time, just only when it sees and then gone. And thinking about it from experiencing shape and form is not the moment of seeing, but after seeing. See, all are so true in life, each moment in a day, depending on understanding, whether there is considering enough to understand the truth or just not interested in understanding the truth. The absolute truth never changes at all. So, does anyone understand peace?
Achan, peace, it has to be with kusala moment, right?
It can arise with panya or without panya. Can it arise without panya or with panya?
Yes, panya.
Peace itself, what is it? We have to understand firstly, what is it which we understand it as peace?
Experience.
When it's not the understanding, it's wrong. But when there is understanding, it's right. The peace is peace. It's not just one like to sit and no trouble.
For example, Haji, when the chitta is calm, no matter with or without panya, at that moment when it is calm, is it peaceful?
But akusala is calm. No. Kusala is calm, but
Kusala is calm, so any moment of kusala is calm. So at the moment when there is calm, when passaddhi cetasika is there, the chitta is calm, no disturbance at all. So only at moments of kusala can it be peaceful at those moments. So when it seems peaceful when we're walking in the forest or along the beach, usually it's attachment.
yes.
But actually at the moment when the chitta is wholesome, when there is kindness, for example, or compassion, which Lucas mentioned at the very beginning, or at moments of understanding, just at those rare moments, the chitta is peaceful.
Yeah, so
this is the true peace.
all
But
kusala,
without any understanding, how can it ever be known? There will always be the unwholesome peace, the clinging which is taken for being peaceful will be taken for wholesome peace. But actually it's just at any moment of kusala, any moment of kindness, any moment of true generosity, any moment of understanding. No disturbance, no restlessness, no attachment at those moments.
We usually take the words, but not the characteristics. Like we talked about anger and kindness, and they have different characteristics. But we learned from all these phenomena that they are so short, they don't last and are immediately gone. So even anger, we think we know anger, but there's already many other phenomena follow up, and kindness. So if one understands this, one can read the teachings with right understanding. But if this is not understood, we read that the Buddha said that one should cultivate a wholesome state. But if we don't realize it's only such a short moment, so we understand that last time Jonathan said, it doesn't matter whether there is anger or kindness, one can be shocked. But with right understanding, we know that there is only the thinking of those words. And in the absolute sense, they are just conditioned. And if we don't understand that they are immediately gone, we have many misunderstandings. So it doesn't matter whatever appears, but understanding should know them as just conditioned realities and not my anger or my kindness. But it is so very difficult because we are so used to think of my anger and my kindness. So we have to listen a lot, little by little.
Yes.
And this is the point, that even the peace or the calm, it just lasts for a moment and is gone. It's not my peace. So my peace that there's so much craving for
Yeah.
never exists, because there is no my to have any peace. So it's just a Dhamma, a moment of kindness, a moment of understanding that is peaceful and then gone. And when there's clinging to having it again, no peace.
Yeah, even like but then there's still a lot of clinging to idea of I and all that in samsara. And Buddha said that, like, Panya, Buddha used in Thai, I have heard word Chira Kala Bhavana. It means the time, it's a long time for Panya development. Like, imagine drop of water and form become ocean, how long that would take. Like this life.
Naons, Kiragala, yes.
Yeah.
And
In the Dhamma, there are two kinds of peace. There's the peace of the moment when the citta is wholesome, such as when there's generosity or understanding. And there is also the peace that comes when there is no more wholesome or unwholesome consciousness. So in the first case, the wholesome consciousness arises, but there is still the accumulated tendency for unwholesomeness. And as long as there is the accumulated tendency for unwholesomeness as well as for wholesomeness, there can never be lasting peace, because the wholesome consciousness is only can only arise so much of the time. But the more lasting peace is the peace that comes from the eradication of all unwholesome tendencies, and that is from the development of understanding of what is real at the present moment. So if one's goal is true peace, then it has to begin with understanding what is appearing right now.
Exactly.
Maeve, I saw we haven't seen you for a while, and I know you usually have something you would like to add. And also I'd like to mention, I saw Eve is here. Very happy to see you, Eve. So yes, go ahead, Maeve.
Thank you, Sarah. And hello, Ajahn. Lovely to see you. Sarah, I might wait a little while and just listen. But yes, it's good to see everyone again. I hope everyone's well.
Yeah. And Eve, very happy that you could join. I don't know if there's anything you would like to say or whether you would just like to listen, but I'm glad to see you.
I just want to greet you all and Ajahn. Back from Japan in Bangkok. I went to the center and Kun Sukin kindly gave me the meeting information. So I have such joy and appreciation at this moment. Thank you. Kiss, kiss.
I did send you an email quite a long time ago, but perhaps you didn't receive it, but very glad you found the details now.
May I ask a question? Yeah, that
Go
is
ahead, Tam, please.
about the Javanachita. They are said to run through the objects. So I wonder about what is the meaning, what is the relevance of that?
When I hear that, Jawati means to run, is to go through quickly. So when that first moment of Jawina arises, it's a weaker moment than the other ones, but it just automatically goes through these 7. So we say it just runs through it. It's just a word ultimately, just to quickly go through those moments after the sense door process, for example, or the mind door process. So it's like a movement through the Jawina moments which follow Wattapana. And it depends on the object, of course, because if it's a great object, what they call Ati Mahanta, then it will be 17 moments, and then you'll have the Tadda Ramana after it. But yeah, it's a word that just means to move through quickly, one after the other. With if the first moment is akusala, which it mostly is, then the following moments will be akusala also. So it quickly runs through based upon the accumulated tendencies of that individual at that particular time and the conditions that are operative.
I would like to, thanks Sundara, I would like to hear Ajahn answer to this, but my own understanding of, or the way I think about this is, we've heard about attending to shape and form of the sense door object, and I think that is something that one aspect of running through the object, but it does, of course it applies. There are the object of Javana doesn't have to be just a sense door object. Other realities can be the object, or concepts can be the object too. So it obviously has more meaning than that, but perhaps Ajahn can explain for us.
Would you like to understand about the function of jittas? Because when we talk about Chavana, it is the function of citta, a function. That's why each citta arises to experience an object. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ajahn.
Okay. So when we understand what citta performs, what function, we can understand what is meant by Javana, right? Because for the rupa, one rupa lasts for 17 moments of citta, but it doesn't mean that all 17 cittas experience the object, because it just shows how long for a rupa is. At moment of impinge on the sense door, for example, it cannot perform the function of seeing or hearing just at that very moment. Because at that moment, citta is bhavanka, performing the function of bhavanka. See, it cannot experience the object which impinge on that. So that bhavanka, atita bhavanka, is the first moment of the arising of rupa, to show how long that rupa lasts. That's why the first moment is one, the second moment of bhavanka is the second moment of rupa, and then the third one, bhavanka chalana, bhavankupacceta. See, atita bhavang is the first, bhavanka chalana, and then bhavankupacceta. All three does not experience the rupa which impinge on the sense. But the first sense door, that which experience, cannot see, it cannot perform the function of seeing instantly, but it adverts to that object which is there, but it cannot see yet. Like someone is there at the gate and you are in the room, in the house, you don't know who's there, but there is the sense that someone is there. So the adverting consciousness cannot see, right? It performs that function of adverting to the object which is there. No other citta can perform that function. It has to be that very citta, no matter we call it what. Even if we don't call it anything at all, it's there performing that function. And after that, seeing arises when its whisper object, or hearing arises performing its function. So we talk about the function of citta at the moment. one function at a time. So there cannot be the two adverting consciousness. Only one is enough to condition the next one to see the object. And seeing is only one moment in the process, the actual moment of seeing. But the citta after that does not see. It just receives that which seeing sees to be the object, because the object is still there. See, it doesn't fall away yet. So Sampatichana has Vitakka Cetasika because it cannot see, but it can have that object which seeing sees. So it needs the Cetasika which is Vitakka Cetasika with it, different from seeing, only 7 Cetasikas. And then it can perform the function of Sampatichana. It cannot do the other thing. And after it is Santirana. See, no matter what word we use, it's just a moment. But if we use another word, try to explain, it's longer than that. But thinking about that, which is conditioned by Sampatichana, by way of Samantarapajaya, see, it has to be only that which follows to receive that object. And after that, it is Bodhapannacitta. Some can use any word, but it just make way for the accumulation, just right then to be conditioned to be such jhana, which is kusala or akusala and so on. But see, no more function. So the jhana runs through, experience that object so very fast of each one. That's why one can know whether there is like or hatred or trouble or whatever is there. Some kind of feeling or thinking is there. 7 moments only, and the object is gone. Or if it lasts 2 more moments, the vipaka conditioned by the same karma, which condition seeing and sampatichana and santirana to arise, experience that which is left. It cannot be hatred or attachment or kusala or akusala, so short, because the object is there, close to fall away. So it's only function of taramana, which means that object is experienced because it's left for citta to experience it, by kamma to be vipaka, which has to arise by condition, kamma condition. That's all. And then pavanka again. The gap in between, unknown all the time. After process, one process, there must be pavanka before other process. And the mind has to follow, because by way of conditioned, since that it's experience, mind just experience the same object. Even it does not perform the function of seeing, but it's there as object. So thinking about how fast it is, it seems like the same object all the time, but actually it cannot be the same. It's only replica or the photocopy of that. And we can see that we cannot sometimes not able to tell whether it's the real one or the photocopy or the replica, but it's there, just like exactly the same. This is the world. This is the way the world is, from moment to moment, by conditions. And the conditions must be nothing else apart from citta, cetasika, rupa. Only 3 absolute realities which arise and fall away and condition different moments by different condition. On and on and on, adding more and more and more conditions in life, different life, to condition just a moment and then gone, never to arise again. If there's no such understanding, no one can let go the idea of self, because it seems like it's there, very permanent. Like now, see? So what is seen? Not kuntam, see? Never be. Only that which can impinge on the eye base, not that which is at the back. See, by conditions. But when one closes one's eyes, there can be hearing and thinking and so on. That's why only reality, only one among all others can be seen. So it's the world of darkness. But it seems like it's so light all through the day. But the truth is not like that. That's why without the enlightenment of the truth, no one can let go the idea that there is nothing, only just one reality at a time, and that which is seen is different from other, which is all in darkness. Quite opposite world. What is clear? Only one object at a time, when it appears to Panya directly. No doubt about that, no idea about that, but it directly experienced the truth of that, only one. So now there are so many things together. How can there be letting go the idea of something, no matter inside or outside? So the world is here and now. Without the experiencing, there cannot be any world. Without conditions, nothing can arise. Citta cannot arise alone. Cetasikas cannot arise alone. Rupa cannot arise alone. Depend on the others to be conditioned for the arising of the other. Vayu Dhatu depend on Pathvi Dhatu, depend on Vayu Dhatu, Tejo Vatu. They arise together. But appears only one at a time.
Ajahn. So can you say that the Javanachittas are said to run through the objects because it's just the same chitta that experiences the object and perform the same functions, unlike other chittas which only perform the function one time only?
Citta which arises fallen away completely, never to return. No matter Javana Citta or Pasampatichana or seeing or whatever.
Yes.
Can anyone change the truth? No one at all, because actually they are all dhammas, the absolute dhammas, the paramada dhamma, the abhidhamma. No matter what we use, it just shows the quality of that as no one there.
Yes. Whatever is just dhamma and arisen and fallen away already.
And it's not far apart or far away at all. Right here, so close. No attention to it at all. See, always thinking about that which is far from where it is. Right now, here, so close. Actually, nowhere. Because whenever there is the idea of somewhere, it's something there. See? It means that when it appears as just one, the other reality cannot be the object at all. Even thinking. No thought about other thing. That is the direct experiencing. So clear, it appears well to the highly developed panya. But it begins to appear little by little well at moment of direct understanding of that which now appearing. For example, if we don't talk about hardness, does anyone pay attention to it? Even it's there, see? But anytime when there is the understanding of it's a reality, it's so close, it's there, it's always taken for something like the soap or the whatever is there, but actually it's only hardness arising and falling away. It's not directly experienced yet, because Panya is not enough. It just learn to know what is real is there, just that which appears. At that moment when there's no attention, no understanding, no awareness, it's gone. But it doesn't matter at all because there must be conditioned reality all the time, no matter when and what. That can be the object of understanding, depending on condition for direct understanding, whether it's enough to arise. It shows the anotherness of all dhammas all the time. So the development of understanding the reality is the development of understanding of no one there at all. And that just appear when it appears and then gone. But Sanya marks and remembers about that. So what is now appearing as something actually only a reality arising and falling away all the time. Many realities followed instantly, like they are together, like seeing and hearing, but actually far apart. And the gap, the Bhavanka, is in between. Otherwise, how can there be the understanding of Bhavanka? But when a reality appears and then the other appears, what is there? They cannot be the same moment, and there's moment of Bhavanka in between. Otherwise, Buddha didn't teach, but since the truth can be studied, can be understood, Panya, right understanding, develops. When it understands more and more, that's the way to experience it and understand that each word of the Buddha is so true, never change at all. And this is the understanding of the virtues of the Buddha. His great wisdom, his great virtue, and his great compassion. That's why those who heard the teachings are Buddha Parisatta, Buddha Savaka or Buddha Parisatta.
Parisatya.
Buddha, in Pali, I don't know, in Thai it is Buddha Parisat. Pronounced in Pali, Parisatta. I don't know. You can look it up or ask Kun Sundara.
Because I think I didn't.
Yeah, just the word. But
I think, John, when you talk,
the one who has respect, great respect to the Buddha.
I think Ajahn Buddha Parisat is only those who have Panya. Then that person, then it's really Buddhist. Then
The Pali term, I don't know the Pali term for Buddha Parisat in Thai. I cannot pronounce correctly, so I asked Kun Sundra about the pronunciation of that in Pali. The Buddhist is Buddha Parisat.
Okay.
Ajahn, but it has to be those who have understanding. Then that person is a Buddhist. I mean,
Yes, you cannot take refuge in the Buddha without understanding his teaching.
What about the one who is Buddhist but doesn't have any understanding of the teaching?
Come back.
Is that Buddhist? A Buddhist? See? So it's not the name.
Tambak, I'm sorry, Tambak, can I?
Yes, Lucas?
Yeah. Tambak, you say about that, but even in the beginning, you know, that one cannot see Buddha before understanding the teaching, you know, you say now. but and everyone. But listen, because I'm saying if someone is the beginner, yeah, then teaching, you know, because if someone is beginner, he doesn't know anything about the Buddha, you know, because if I see the Buddha or anyone see the Buddha, this is very, very advanced teaching, you know, this is the point, you know, if I may ask you.
Yes, even if the understanding.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you, but I just thought that even if a very little understanding,
Okay.
at least you know what is the Buddha taught, and without that you can be a Buddhist with your own ideas. So it's not really.
Yes.
Yeah, but even if you heard about that, it's not all.
Maybe I can.
That's the
John,
question,
can you hear
know,
me?
because I don't think so. You know, I'm learning for so many.
Lucas, if those who doesn't have understanding about Dhamma cannot be Buddhist.
Yeah, okay. Haji, you know, I know. But listen, brother, this is not about that, because, you know, in the beginning, no one can understand the Buddha. In my opinion.
Sundara, go ahead. You want to speak something?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know if my microphone was working properly.
Actually,
but anyway,
I spoke.
Ajahn was asking before, bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, that's the Thai word, and the Pali word is parisajja, or retinue, or followers. Like we have Brahma Parisajja. It's one of the Brahmaloka planes. But in Thai, it's often also means bodhisattva means company. You know, like an organization. So Buddha Bodhisattva, I can imagine, means the followers or those in the company of the Buddha, or something like that. I was just going to add also, Tambak, when you talked about asking about jhana, you know, we know it means to move through quickly. Running, because running means to move quickly, but it goes very, 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 very fast. And those three, it has got the first jhana moment, one of the aspects of Dhamma. The first jhana moment is very weak, relatively weak. And if that Dhamma does bring results in this lifetime, if we were talking about, for example, a kusala kammapata, if that Dhamma, that first jhana moment, doesn't bring results in life, won't bring results at all ever again. But the jhana moments from number 2 to number 6, they can bring results at any time in samsara. They're called parapara ajiniya kamma, something like that. I'm actually getting it slightly wrong there. And the last one is, which is also quite weak, which is the 7th moment. If that doesn't bring a result in the next life, it won't. Upapadya vedaniya kamma. If it doesn't bring results in the next life, it won't bring results. But I guess this all points to the conditionality of everything. Every particular chitta is very finely calibrated, if you like, to be the way it is. It arises very quickly, and as the Ajahn pointed out, it's one of the functions of chitta, jhana kitcha. It's one of the functions of chitta. Anyway, it's these moments arise and pass very, 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 very quickly, and each one is called asewana pachya, like it's really, really quick. Each moment connects with the next one, or conditions the next one by way of asewana pachya. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Yes, but because all the chittas arise and pass away very quickly, so I just wonder why it talks about quickly run through. Whether is there any significance in that, and like, I don't know. I was just wondering about that, because all chittas arise and pass away, and
it's just the same. A bit. So I would just say, when we say it quickly, I mean all chittas arise and fall quickly. It's just a, you know, it's
we missed the last part of your.
I think it's just a translation, Tom. So it's just like the translation of the other cheetahs, like Votapana determining. If you start thinking, you know, why does it determine, or why does it run through quickly? You get lost in the story, not understanding anything about the nature of the cheetah itself, like the Javana. So, and what its real function is whenever it arises, to be kusala or akusala at that moment. But I think it's just about time. So,
Okay.
Thank you, Thanachan.
Sawadee Kajan, thank you very much.